Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk quickly about the one of my favorite lenses and one of my favorite setups here, the Sony A7s with the Sony 10-18mm lens, which is originally meant for crop sensor or APS-C cameras. But the good thing about this lens is that when you stick it on the A7s or the A7R or the original A7, it actually acts as a, I want to say 12 to 17mm full frame without any crop and with little distortion and no vignetting in this focal length. Basically the vignetting starts here. Get into it. It starts from 10mm. 10mm is not very usable as far as vignetting is concerned. When you get to 12mm, like here, now it's at 12mm, on a full frame sensor, it's very, very usable. Very little vignetting on the sides, easily fixed in post, or actually in camera, which I will show you in a minute using the app that I got from the Sony App Store. And up to 17mm, this is 18, up to a bit after 16, I would say 16.5, 17mm, there's also no noticeable vignetting. Sorry, let me just lower the ISO because I think it's yeah, there you go. So here you can see how the vignetting works. There you go. See here, for example, at 17.5, 18, you can see some vignetting cropping in. Here at 16, no vignetting whatsoever. It's almost all gone. We go back to 12. At 12, also no vignetting. Actually, it depends on the copies because I saw a guy on YouTube demonstrating like this, and his lens at 12 had some vignetting, and this one doesn't. So I'm happy to have a good copy. Then going back to 10, obviously it's not usable. Or 11. This is 11. 11, you can actually use it as 11 as well, to be honest. This copy anyway. Right, but the most interesting part of this is actually a lens compensation app that comes with this. The app itself is called, it's called Lens Compensation really, and it's on the Sony App Store. It's £7.99, so it's not cheap, £7.99. Let me just get into it. It's a really, really good investment as far as I'm concerned. When you open it, it gives you this option, obviously, to create a new profile. I already created one for the 10-18mm right here. You can save profiles and you can also export them, I think, to Adobe and other software, editing software. Right, so now the sweet spot I found of this lens is at 12mm. 12mm, it's very wide and it's very correctable, if I might say. If you go to application settings here, it gives you the option to remove what they call shading, which is vignetting basically. When you remove the vignetting, here for example, I've had it at 16, plus 16, plus 16. This is what it looked like originally at the one. Okay, so this is 0. There's a tiny bit of vignetting, as you can see here. Evidently, what it does is that it brightens the sides, and you end up with no vignetting. That's the idea, I think. Then you can also correct chromatic aberration, but this lens has hardly any, so we're not going to go into that. Distortion is the other interesting thing. Originally, this is what the lens looked like when it was not corrected, so 0. When you correct it, it corrects the distortion. So now, for example, when I'm turning right and left, there is very little distortion, as you can see. Yeah. And basically, yeah, it's just a really good app. So just one word of advice. I usually like to leave it at +7. It's usually, for me, is the sweet spot as far as this lens is concerned. So when it corrects, it's not completely, it doesn't sort of crop in too much. And also, I would go to sort of between 14 and 16 mil is also the sweet spot for me as far as focal length is concerned. I usually leave it at 15, but the good thing with this lens, I need to get out of the app to show you this. Yes. The good thing with this lens is when you go to crop mode, I'm sorry, I need to get out again. If you go to disable or enable actually the crop mode, you basically use it as a let me count, so 15. So you use it as a 15 to 27 mil lens, and that's really great, especially if you're using it with something like the Pilot Fly, which I have the gimbal. You basically have the option to go from 12 mil to 27 mil with this lens, using the crop sensor and the APS-C and the full frame. And honestly, with this kind of setup, usually you'd have to keep changing lenses and balancing the camera on the gimbal takes a while if you are changing lenses. So with this lens, which is a very lightweight lens, by the way, it works perfectly well with that setup, with that gimbal. With this lens, you have a 12 to 18 to 27 mil lens, which can cover pretty much a lot of the situations. It also has OSS built in, so it's that extra stable. Actually, I'll make a different video explaining how to balance it on the Pilot Fly H1 Plus, and some samples as well of how it looks. But honestly, yes, this is a great setup to have. This lens, the 10 to 18 mil f4 with the A7s or the other A7 mirrorless cameras, and the Pilot Fly. This is all you need for quick for filming or for doing work for weddings and things like that. Honestly, I'm very happy with this, and I think this is all I'm going to be carrying in my bag from now on, everywhere I go, using the lens, the 10 to 18 mil Sony A7s and the Pilot Fly H1 Plus. The whole thing cost me about £2,000, £2,500 I would say, the whole thing, the whole setup, and this is all you need really. So yeah, that's it for me now. It was just a quick video basically to talk about this lens and the app and the whole setup. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, by the way. So that's it for now, and hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.